What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys haven't seen the last couple of videos, let me get you guys caught up. 2 days ago, I went to the dyno. I drove my K-Turbo EF sedan, and by the end of the night, we sent the rod and the piston out of the motor. Big shout out to the homie Blanco for picking up the car for me yesterday and delivering it. I decided that instead of sitting here and crying about the whole situation, let's just keep moving forward. I have a deadline to have this car down at the Honda meet in Lake Elsinore in mid-May, and I definitely am trying to get my car up and going again so we can make it out there. So I pulled the engine out yesterday. I stripped it down entirely to get the long block on the engine stand right here with the blue valve cover. Everything that was caked up with oil inside and out, I cleaned it all yesterday, got it all put away aside from the turbo, which I'll clean today. I got the entire engine bay also re-cleaned as well too, so it's nice and sparkly, ready for the new engine. I didn't plan to put the new engine in anytime soon, but I guess sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So shout out to Chris Built Race Engine for putting my new motor together, which is right there in the back with the red valve cover. And we're gonna be putting this thing into the car once all the parts showed up. Along the way of pulling the engine out of the car, I decided to change a few things, placed a couple of orders last night. So once all of that shows up, we'll entirely reassemble the long block to the trans and all, and get it back into the car in hopes of getting it running within the next week. So while we are waiting for parts, what I'm going to do in today's video is we're going to vinyl wrap the trunk of the car. The trunk and the roof is the last thing I need to do, and I need to put my front suspension back on so we can lower the car, so we can roll it off the driveway, turn it around, so we can work on the trunk in the shade instead of out in the sun. And later tonight as well too, I am going to tear down into the K20a2 to see what kind of carnage we have in the internals of the short block. This was the pot of oil that was coming out of my exhaust system. God dang, that's a lot. It is super duper windy right now all of a sudden, but I do have the sedan backed up onto the driveway, and I do need to clean the surface a little bit because I can feel the grittiness of the dirt caked up on here from the last couple of days. I'm probably going to hit it with a gray Scotch-Brite as well too to ensure it's nice and smooth. The gray is not too aggressive, and I do also want to take off the center garnish to make it easier to wrap the vinyl around this corner instead of trying to shove a tool in between to get the vinyl to stick. It's only held on by a couple of 8mm, not a big deal, but I'm gonna go ahead and clean this real quick, and then we'll pull out the vinyl, talk about it a little bit, and then start measuring it for the trunk. Alright guys, so this vinyl wrap I shown in a different video. This is a company called Tiny Bot Vinyls out of SoCal, and they had a color called Gloss Metallic Mist Blue, and right off the rip I knew the word mist means it's going to be a lighter blue, but I didn't know how light it was going to be, so I ordered 5 by 10, which is enough to cover the roof and the trunk. And I compared it the other day to the car, and it is actually a lot lighter than I was hoping for. This is the new color that we're going to be going with. This right here is the color that's currently on the car. You guys can clearly see that this is a lighter color and is a little bit more pearly than the one that's on the car currently, and I decided that I'm just gonna go ahead and rock it anyways. At the end of the day, I'd rather have a nice gloss solid color opposed to the sanded down primer surface that's currently on the car. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel this back, take some measurements, cut out the section we need, and then we'll get down with the wrapping on the car. All right, guys, so I spent a little bit of time doing some research. This film does have the clear on top, and I was trying to figure out when this is supposed to come off. So after talking to some of my friends, some of these guys actually peeled the clear off before actually squeegeeing it onto the car. Some of my friends actually leave it on and peel it after already applying the vinyl to the cars. But what I'm going to do is, after I glass it, I'm gonna peel it back, and then I'm going to lay the vinyl onto the chassis. So the sun has gone down a little bit, and you guys can clearly see on this side the two different color. Oh man. At the end of the day, like I said, I prefer the gloss over the primer sanded down surface any day. So let's go ahead and get you guys on the laps and get this thing going on. Okay, first impression of this brand wrap. It is a lot thicker than the 3M, and it takes a little more heat to stretch it out, but not too much because it rips pretty quick, or at least for me around the corners. I mean, obviously corners would tear easier, but I got the trunk laid out with the vinyl, and a lot of imperfection, a lot to learn here too, because this is the first time I'm using a wrap that has the clear film on top, and I decided to peel the clear off of it to apply the vinyl. But that also leaves you potential to scratch the surface, and I did just that. The entire surface of this vinyl wrap is scratched. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's some swirls and scratches right there, that long one, a bunch of them right here from the sweeping motion of the squeegee. And here's another lesson learned for me as well too. I bought this from Amazon. It was like 13 bucks. It came with 2 of these, and the one that I was using, let me show you guys. This one right here, this one faded out, and you can see all of the microfiber on the bottom is like gone. So I'm literally using the plastic to squeegee the vinyl, and that's what caused all the scratches right here, right? It's kind of hard to see it on the camera, but I am telling you guys the truth and trying to be very transparent with it. There is a ton of scratches on the surface. And another thing too is, I know you're not supposed to be vinyl wrapping in the cold, although we did kind of start in the day. That kind of fell into the night, which then the vinyl got cold and got harder. And after peeling it back and forth a couple of times just to use the heat gun to take off some of the wrinkles and some of the bubbles and stuff, I don't know what it is about this wrap. I peeled it probably like 2 or 3 times, and then it wasn't sticky anymore. So if you look right here, this entire section, there's like no glue in here. Like, it's dry, bone dry on the back side, and I cannot stick this vinyl anymore. So that is a problem. So I have this high strength adhesive promoter, And this right here I actually bought to do the headliner in my mom's car, but I haven't really gotten to it yet. So I used a little bit of this to see if it'll help. The thing is, it comes out thick and it does imprint through the vinyl. So this corner also had that issue where it wasn't sticking anymore. So I kind of sprayed a little bit and then I smeared it with my finger and it literally imprinted right through. So that is not a solution. I'm sure there's a lot of other adhesive promoter that's not as aggressive as this one, obviously, because this is the 90, but this is what I had. I'm just trying to make do, and it was a mistake. So the rest of the trunk itself is entirely wrapped. The corners are all you know, we laid the vinyl around all the corners. We trimmed off all the X's across all the way to the other side, and my only main issue right now is just that top corner, and I don't know what I'm going to do about it. So a lot could have been prevented, but you know, we're just trying to get things done. And like I told you guys before, at the end of the day, I'd rather prefer the gloss clear opposed to the sanded down, and also all of this is going to come back off anyway, so I'm not even sweating it. But again, this is a light failure slash lesson learned for the next time I do it, especially when I do get to the roof and stuff. But I think I have enough to do a second layer to the trunk and still have enough for the roof, but I would have to double check my measurements and stuff that I did and how much I cut off to know how much I have left to see if I can do this again. Oh yeah, you can definitely tell a two different color, and if you guys see this in person, it is definitely more pearly too. Ain't nothing a glue stick can't fix. You know what? In the sun, you can barely tell. I mean, on the camera, you can see it, right? But to the naked eye, if you took a quick glance, you don't really notice that it is a different color shade of blue. Okay, a little forgiving. It actually looks really nice to see a shiny gloss trunk than a primered sanded down trunk. And the imperfections that we have here, you can barely see in the sunlight because, you know, it's so bright. But I will say that the glue stick didn't really do too well. I mean, it is stuck all the way here, but we have a nice little bubble along this edge, and we only applied it less than 24 hours ago. This one, adhesive promoter, is working, except it does leave that imprint there. But regardless of the fact, I don't really care, and it looks good to see this thing having a shiny trunk. I got to get all the badges and stuff with some new double-sided tape so I can stick them back on. But other than that, damn, not too shabby. So another thing too is this car has been out of my possession for, you know, 24 hours maybe, and it was at the shop, and we had a lot of people push this car off the dyno and into the slot that it sat at. And when that car came to me 2 days ago, the vinyl wrap seems to have taken a beating. It was around a lot of people, so you know what I'm saying, like somebody could have had their keys dangling or something. But there's a lot of scratches throughout the car when I got it back. I'm not pointing fingers or nothing like that. It just sucks to see that I spent hours putting this thing together for it to be all fucked up. And damn, excuse me guys, I don't really swear on the channel, but you can see it right here, all scratched up. Right here has a gouge on there as well. I did find a couple of more on the fender. Right here we have that one. We have that nice long scratch right here, goes all the way back. And then like I said, there's another one right there, gouged. And you know, it kind of sucks because, you know, wrapping isn't easy, and I spent a lot of hours obviously on this, but it is what it is. I'm also looking at the back right here. So yesterday I made a mistake. I did cut the vinyl a little too short. I did like 1.5 inch overlay on the bottom side, and I had like 2 on the top, and I pre-cut the top. I must have cut too much because I ended up running short on this ledge right here, and I mean, I had enough to stretch it through to wrap it underneath so you can't see the old color. But what I'm seeing right now in the light is I might have stretched it too far to where the color started distorting. So I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera, but this is all light right here, and I don't know if you guys saw in the time lapse where I was spending more time in this corner because we did run short on material. And I feel like when you stretch it too much, the color starts changing, and that's what it is showing along this entire bottom lip. So again, not really too bothersome because who's really going to go down there and look at it, right? From the top, looks really good. A light on here. The last thing I want to do is I want to start tearing apart my K20 engine, see what's salvageable, what's not, what kind of carnage we have in the pan, so we can at least get the block and stuff that's damaged and just throw everything away and get that out of the garage. So let's dive into it. All right, guys, so we have the entire valve train taken off. All the head bolts are off as well too. The cylinder head is ready to come off, and I'm really crossing fingers that the cylinder head is not too messed up, because if it's not messed up, we can probably use the head for like a 2420 or something. All the valves in the cylinder head is intact. I'm just hoping that the head is at least salvageable. So let's go ahead and pop this thing off. Yeah, here we go. Dude, the head barely took any damage. Light gouges right here at the bottom, but dude, check it out. Wow. Okay, head salvageable. That's good. This was a junkyard unopened K20a2, and even the head gasket looks good. This is probably the factory unit too. We're not missing that much material on it. Not shabby. Not shabby. Everything I removed from the long block itself, I put into this box right here, and everything is in Ziploc bags, and they are all labeled as well too, just so we know where all the bolts and nuts go. The water pump housing over here just has a lot of debris from the breakage of the block, but the housing itself is actually in good condition. Has a little gouge right there, just a little gouge, but I think Gray RTV would seal it, and I'm gonna give it a good clean before I use this on the new long block, only because the one that's currently on the new long block has all of the bottom tabs broken if I use the alternator relocation kit. So this is salvageable. Water pump, probably gonna change it to a new unit.
got to worry about those snitch ass niggas. I keep on switching and I keep on looking, but niggas try to slave from watch the Brooklyn.
Mint condition.
But sometimes my people we thinking like they slippity slide when you're living in the city is do or die. Used to rock in my basement, now I'm number one. Ain't that on time, never standing on line. You wanna try me? First you better.
I'm pretty sure we can JB weld the oil pump back together. Should be good as used. Guys, the bearing looks freaking awesome, dude. Normal wear and tear. Here's the bottom half of the rods. I pulled this one out yesterday and give you guys a better look at the bearing. Look at this. Normal. So it's not a spun bearing. It's not a drop valve, but we lost the center section of the rod. So this is crazy to me. Like, look, it looks good. I mean, aside from it banging out the entire block and making new windows, but that's crazy. Show you guys the other one. This is the journal because the bearing's right there, but dude, the crank journal looks freaking mint. I'm gonna rotate the crank for you guys to show you that this thing spins freaking freely, dude. Look at this, schmoodish butter. Definitely gonna try to see if this crank is somewhat salvageable, because K20 type S cranks are hard to find, if not expensive. So if I can use this crank, then definitely we'll have another block be put together underneath the rack over there. So we have the main bearings right here, guys, and they look freaking brand used, dude. Really clean. Wow. I'm really crossing fingers that the crank is salvageable. So that is going to wrap it up for this teardown of the K20a2 that came out of my car. It's unfortunate that it happened on a dyno, but you know, shit happens. It is what it is. This is only a better reason for me to finally get the new engine put into the car. That right there is a K20a2 long block as well. That was built by the homie Chris at Chris Built Race Engines. It is a piston rod engine that has full valve trains and everything from SuperTech. It is rated for 900, he said, and he had a similar setup like this in an MR2 that made 900 horsepower, but that's not our goal. Our goal with this engine is 600 or so, and we're just waiting for a few more parts to show up, and then we're gonna assemble this entire thing with the transmission and clutch to get it back into the car. The last big thing we need to wrap is the roof of the car. I'm still debating if I want to do it with the windshield off or the windshield on. I'm sure I can do it with the windshield on and just take my sweet time tucking it underneath the molding, but I don't want to have to peel it back one too many times and then we lose the stickiness like we did on the trunk last night. But I could also just call my glass guy. He can probably knock it out in like 30 minutes since the glass is already broken anyways, but I guess we'll figure it out when we get to it. If I'm still very indecisive about wrapping the roof tomorrow, I could technically start the all-wheel drive rear end conversion since we do have everything already in from S1 Built. So anyways, guys, we're going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the progress update on the EF sedan. We wrapped the trunk with a brand called TinyBot Vinyl Gloss Metallic Mist Blue, and also taking a look into the Carnage on my K20a2 engine that came out of my EF sedan. If you guys enjoyed this video a little bit, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around to see what we do next, because it could be the all-wheel drive stuff, or it could be finishing up the vinyl on the roof. But if you guys want to find out, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.